This is Matrix's free weekly webinar for the week starting the 21st to the 24th. So next week's going to be a 4-day trading week with the Easter holiday falling on the Monday, which means banks are closed and markets won't be open. So we'll get stuck into it straight away. We'll start off with the US dollar currency. So we did talk about this yesterday, and it does look like or last week, sorry, and it does look like this correction is playing out. So we are looking for, just to draw visually, we are looking for the C wave to come down. And at the moment, it does look like it's starting that consolidation for this to go down. So I guess next week, you can expect some more downside before a sharp reversal back up. And then we could look to see something like this play out. More correction on the dollar. Looks like we're starting that B wave. Euro, similar thing. Almost identical, but in the opposite direction. So Euro is looking to consolidate outside of this contracting flat. So that's here. And what we'll see for the next week or so is Euro just playing around in these price ranges between these two horizontals before we actually get more downside there. So I wouldn't say trade it. If you have a strategy that you can enter with B waves, go ahead. Otherwise, I'll be leaving this one alone before we see some more direction come through. Okay. So the yen dollar, we are still in this C wave to come up to the top here. At the moment, doesn't look like things are moving as quickly or anywhere anytime soon. I'd like to see some more upside, maybe a shorter flat over here before continuation to the upside. So that's the yen. We're in that daily C wave structure with more consolidation. I don't think we could potentially see some more downside here. Going like this. We'd be looking for sells possibly here. And then you can sell this down when it's ready. However, just because of where it is, I'd like to see some clearer like patterns play out before we actually start trading this one. So that's for that. CAD, okay. So CAD does look like it was finishing. This is the running flat internally, with these being the corrective pieces that come down. So as you can see, and we did touch on this last week, some more sells to come in. Let's see how price reaction or price behaves around this horizontal. Wouldn't be surprised if we get a break of this horizontal and then this just becomes a larger flat piece for more up. But as for right now, CAD's got more sells in it and more downside to come on a short-term time frame. If we go to a higher time frame, as you can see here, so we don't have any divergence. So that would indicate more upside to come to give us that divergence here and here. And then we still are yet to break this higher time frame horizontal, which we would need to see. Yeah. Okay, so pound. Just go into weekly quickly. Okay. So pound's had an interesting reaction after breaking this horizontal. No real, on a daily time frame, no real extended sideways that's going to build momentum and continue to the downside. This did go quite impulsively. You only had you had 2 15-minute setups around here, I believe. And then as you can see, we've had a very impulsive or reversal that's played out. So this reversal could mean one of two things. The first one is that it could actually signal the completion of this pattern on a weekly time frame. So this could be our A. I'll just draw it out for you. Go back to weekly. So this is our A, B, C on a weekly time frame. And then we also have and A, B, C on a daily time frame. Now the question is this C wave over here now complete? If it is complete, then we could go with the assumption that this is our first impulse to the upside. What we'd be looking for now is some 4-hour corrective structures like this, something similar to what played out here, but setting up over here, that would indicate this is going to be reversing to the upside. The reasons I say that is because if this impulse does not build momentum here, what we're likely to then see is this just being our A wave. We'll get a reversal or a slow consolidation to the way down for our B. We'll get this, and then we'll get one more low. And then that would actually give us divergence on these time frames over here. As of right now, we don't necessarily have a trade set up on pound. If you wanted to sell it, you could. Just be careful that it doesn't go into some consolidation like this, and you might get trapped for a little bit. But if you've got a strategy that you can trade, go ahead. Okay, so Swiss on a daily time frame, we are still looking for this horizontal to be broken. If you go to a 4-hour time frame, it looks like it's consolidating over here. So potentially what we could see next week, maybe one more up, a spike down. That would go 1, 1, 2, 3, third, right. Right now, no real trade setups over here. Let's wait for something that we can identify on a 4-hour and a 1-hour time frame to increase our chances of getting in at the right time. So Aussie. Okay. Aussie's had, we'll go back to on the 4-hour. So obviously we've had a very impulsive move to the downside, and we look like we're reversing here. At the moment on the 4 hours, we don't have any divergence. As you can see here, momentum from this piece to this piece to this piece is actually growing. So momentum is building to the upside. What could that suggest is that this has more upside potential in it to go up. Now, as I spoke on last week, there was those two options on Aussie, where either this is our impulse to the downside, meaning that we will break this horizontal, or that this whole piece here is actually a pullback for this to go up and break this top over here. I'm liking this option, that this is a pullback and we go up. How we would be able to confidently say that is give us some 4-hour. Let the market sit here and build momentum to the upside. If this continues to grow higher and higher, that's awesome. Don't be too worried about missing this original or the first piece up, because then what you'll see is this sideways will happen around this trend line area. Because this has been a monthly trend line that's actually held steady the whole time. So for the market to break that, we will have to have some sizable corrections underneath or above the trend line for this to continue to go to the upside. So what can we expect for next week? At the moment, if you're looking purely at the 4-hourly, there's no divergence. But as you can see, when we go to the 1-hourly, there is divergence. So I would look, one second, on a 1-hourly, potentially more sideways corrections, more upside, but you will get a sharp A reversal. This A will either correct back up to give us that consolidation and go up, or when this finishes, we'll get a sharp reversal. This will set up like this, and then we can look to sell this down. However, right now, more longs are valid. And see how far you go. Follow Aussie with your stop losses, because this is just one piece of the puzzle. We just have a first impulse up. This also could just turn into a pullback. For more downside. So it's in a bit of an interesting spot. Just wait to see what high time frame confirmation we get before jumping in. So similar to that, Aussie, we've got those two options. Either this is the impulse to the downside, more down to go, or this is our pullback and we're reversing to the up. On an hourly time frame, we're starting to get a bit of divergence. So be careful of this to set to the downside. I want to see something on a 4 hour because of where they are structurally. Downside is possible, but I'm biased to the upside. Like, look at a weekly time frame. This divergence between here and here on a daily. We don't have any divergence between this and this. Let's check out 2 days. So this is just filtering. What I'm trying to do here is identify which time frames have the least amount of crossovers. That would then allow me to filter the individual pieces out. So I want to find a MACD time frame that's going to give me one piece for this, one piece for this, one piece for this, and try and get these pieces as least amount of possible. So I'm just going through 3 day, 4 day, 5 day. Let's see what I get. Maybe 6 day. Okay, starting to get a clearer picture. So this is your WXY, no question about it. What is the size between this and this? A bit bigger. The reason I'm checking that is because I want to understand if I'm going to be able to label this as a WXYXZ, or is this my WXY and this WXY, maybe A, B, C, and then internally you have another A, B, C. So that's a way that you could label that. And this is on a 6 day. So that's one possibility. Similar to Aussie, I want to see a 4 hour confirmation. I want to see some large 4 hour with like individual crossovers here before deciding if we're going up or down. Because of right now, both options are possible. Okay, Euro Oz is continuing to go down. Momentum looks to be building. Let's check out the 1 hour. That's on the 4 hour. 1 hour, we do have divergence. What does the daily look like? We're about to get a daily crossover. Okay. If we were to get a sharp reversal, breaking out of this trend line and sit over here, I'd be okay to call longs. If we don't get that set up and the market just sits and continues to consolidate and drop, all sells should still be valid until we get that reversal to the upside. How deep this could go, I'm not too sure. Let's see what happens and see how this plays out. Because as we said last week, there were the two options that we discussed. So either this is our A, B, this is coming down for a C, or we're looking at this piece. What happens if this is doing this? Maximum lols. This also could be an option. The Euro Oz continues to come down before then reversing. There's a very exaggerated running flat with this impulse. This impulse doesn't really fit. It opens the doors for a lot of opportunities or a lot more options here. So let's see how this plays out. There's quite a few options at the moment. Both are like all theoretically are all valid. You can't really rule out any one of them. Yeah. Let's see how that. I don't like labeling it like this either, because if you were to go to a daily time, I don't like labeling this piece, sorry, but here, because if we were to go, so this would be ABC. Yeah, there's still quite a few options, guys, with Euro Oz. So if you get a consolidation, you can sell that down. If you get a reversal and a setup, you could consider going for a long. Euro Oz is, with that second option that I labeled, that we were in a flat, it fits in similar to that of Euro New Zealand, because Euro New Zealand could also be doing this with more down. Trade setup wise for this week, we're starting to get a bit of divergence, or a decent amount of divergence. So we could actually see this downside move end with a reversal and market sitting up to continue to the upside. But if we don't get that reversal and we're just consolidating, then it's up to the trader and their biases as to where they continue to sell or hold out. Yeah. Okay. So this looks like it didn't consolidate. It's gone and moved up. Let's have a look on the higher time frames for a second. What's happening here? Okay. Possibly here. With more upside. So I'm just trying to figure out the possibilities as to what corrective play out could be happening right now, because it does look like this is it's kind of spiky and it's just sitting there for a bit, and then it does these little corrective patterns and then it spikes back up. So this could continue going up, and then what that would actually cause is you might get something like this, and this might be your, instead of a correction like I had it drawn out at the start, you'd just be doing a pullback, and then this comes down. That would fit into the story of where Euro Yen is actually going. So again, watch this. If you're looking for a sell, I want to see the top broken. I always want to see the top broken. So we get one more up, and then just kind of watch price reaction and how it plays out here. If it drops and sits up on a 15-minute time frame with like a neat, clearly identifiable correction, you could absolutely sell this down to break this low. Cool. So euro pound. So we did label this option. I don't think I want to change it at the moment. We're still potentially in a C wave. So let's see if this sits up and just continues to crawl down. And when we get here, we can reassess if it's horizontal. Because right now we just have a bunch of spikes down, spikes up. There's nothing that's definitive in regards to patterns. So I'd wait out, see if this continues to crawl down. Pound New Zealand. Nice. So if you, I think we labeled it out in this last week video, how we could talk about selling over here, or I'm not sure exactly what I talked about. I know that I labeled this consolidation, and if you were able to, this would have been a nice sell. You got another sell opportunity over here, and you're even getting possibly another one for more downside. This will more than likely just continue to drop. I understand that there is divergence here, but it does look like this is the pattern. So 1, 1, 2, 3. Divergence is usually the best, but sometimes it can give you conflicting opinions on what's actually happening in the chart. So I do like this flat pattern. The reasons I like it is because we've got a 1, 1, 2, 3, and this is our C wave. We've got another flat consolidation. So this would have fit the strategy rules, and we've got more down, more sells. Cool. Okay. Pound Oz. So we're in this B wave like we spoke of. What's happening here? All right. Let's maybe delete these lines, because if those lines were true, so if these lines here were true, market shouldn't be coming back this deep. So that means possibly our lines are incorrect. Now let's take a reassessment or relook as to what's happening here. It's going to drop some horizontals. That'll help me identify potential patterns. Maybe something like this. Over here. Maybe this is it. Okay, that's definitely an option. So this played out like this. And then Pound Oz is doing that. Look for longs. You could definitely see a move up. Cool. So Pound Oz, you could look for longs this week. How do I want to trade it? Always. Always, always, always. Wait for an impulse, wait for a correction. That's your setup. This is Pound CAD. What's happening here? Excuse me. So that's the high. What if okay, let's go to the dev. Let's have a look at where this is. Okay. So we spoke, yes, now I recall. So we spoke last week on Pound Oz having two options. That this correction or this daily correction is complete with this being the start of the move down, or we were to see one more up, and that one more up would be this flat pattern for this to break the top before we come back down. It's an interesting one. I'm not sure what this piece is doing. This piece could be part of the up move. So this is here, and we're just consolidating for more up, absolutely. It's a bit tricky just because the way that this is actually moving up, it's really, it hasn't given something that's easily identifiable. It's kind of dropping and consolidating, dropping and consolidating. It's really messy over here. So it'll be a bit hard to trade. Depending on where you want to trade this, make sure it fits your strategies and don't put your stop loss too tight. This might do these little spikes and get you caught upside down. Pound Swiss. Okay, Pound Swiss, we spoke about this one. There was a few questions in the Slack group as to what was happening here. We discussed two options, or I was able to identify two options. The first one, I'm set with this being the running flag. The question was actually what's happening here. Is this the pattern that's playing out? So we get more upside. That's definitely a possibility. Or is this actually complete? And what's happening now is this impulse is just our A wave. We come back down for a B, we go up for a C, and then we move down. I would be able to tell which one is more likely to play out the way that this consolidates next week. If this sits and does not retrace a large amount, so it doesn't come too deep for this original impulse, then go with this option, and that this moves to break that C wave to the top. If it does retrace and come deeper, then you know exactly where we're looking. We're looking for sells in this to go down. So pound Swiss, I wouldn't say there's a specific trade that we could look to. Give it a bit more time and let it set up nicely for us to trade. Similar, very similar with pound yen. Is this our A? Is this our B? And we're going to climb for a C like this before it comes down? Or is this done with the pullback being here? And right now the market's just going to consolidate, come back down, retrace a large amount, go back up. If that was to happen, guys, this would be your best point in getting. You get in on a 4-hourly time frame and you just ride this all the way down. So wait to see. If we set up and next week when we look at this video, it's gone like this, it'd be long. We just have to wait for this one. Right. Talking too much as of late. Okay. So this is Aussie New Zealand. We've broken the low. So that could mean reversals. On a 4-hourly time frame, no divergence. Momentum's growing. How would we trade this? It's because if this, wait, let's have a look. So div all the way through, it runs through here and here, here and here. So this is definitely bring up the option of reversing. On a 4-hourly time frame, if this was the start of the reversal, similar to that of Aussie and New Zealand, we're going to have to wait for this. We're going to have to wait for a confirmation before we can then trade this up. Because I can't call the reversal of the structure that looks like this based on one 4-hourly impulse to the upside. Because how many times have we seen this? Pull this impulse, pull this impulse up, pull this impulse up. So wait, no trade set up here. A lot of charts, a lot of tickers, they're going into some consolidation, especially after the way that they reacted from the coronavirus. They will take some time to recover and continue their relative moves up or down. Okay, we're looking at this. I'm starting to like this option now. What if this is just 1, 2, 3 massive big corrections and this is an impulse down? It didn't really consolidate anywhere except for here and it just dropped. If this was your A, this is your corrective B wave, this goes up for a C and it gives you another flat, very similar to what happened here. I would be able to figure that out. If you were able to trade this up, this would have been nice. I'm not sure what I said last week. This would have been a nice buy opportunity. Did we get a setup that's clear? This would have been tricky. You would have been tossed between this as an expanding. No, expanding. Yeah, on a 15-minute time frame, you didn't really get a setup. I mean, if you wanted to stretch it, you could have done this, but you would have called this the impulse, or this the corrective, and this moves up. Just hard. If you were confident that this is your flat, you could have absolutely traded this. With live information, what I would have been skeptical about something like that. Maybe one more down. But if you were able to trade this up, awesome. Now we're going to a couple weeks back. When was this? 3rd of April, 2 weeks ago. So what we can see here for this week coming, put a flat. This could turn out just to be a pullback. Let's try to delete this now. This could turn out to be a pullback or the start of the C wave. If you wanted to trade this, how would you trade this? If you wanted to trade it down, wait for this to correct, sit on the trend line here, and then you could get yourself setups. That would be the most probable time to enter the market. If it continues to just consolidate and pull back up, then you just gotta leave that one or get into the longs if you want to trade it up. All Aussie pairs seem to be doing that initial move, which could mean a few things. So it's a bit of a gray area for Aussie. I mean, because like you could even, for Aussie CAD, like I wouldn't be against even labeling this as a contractor. But what happens if this just turns out to be one big sideways? Divergence. This is on a weekly time frame too. What's the daily looking like? Divergence holds here and here, but we don't have any divergence on this way down. So here and here, you can see that momentum is growing. It's either being like a fake momentum because of the virus that pushed it. What I'd look for, I want to see this play out here. And then we can go up. Just be patient on these ones. Wait for corrections to play out. Let the market tell you where it's going. New Zealand CAD. Okay. So we did get this one. And when I was running flat, if you traded it up, nice. Now it's time to be careful. If market sits, not that long, market sits, we'll get one more up. Then you would have to consider this. You'd have to consider this running flat, and that just being a complex B wave pattern. So possibly crawling up, reversing, setting up nicely, and more downside. I'm just going to check what the weekly time frame for this one's doing. Get a better understanding of where the higher time frames potentially go. It's not much information here. As for right now, we've broken out of a trend line. We've consolidated once. So we've consolidated once. Now we're consolidating again. What's the bet that this is the final like another consolidation that we drop, you get a self set up and it goes down. I'm more favorable for that option. So for this week, New Zealand CAD, wait for this piece to finish its up move, wait for reversals, and then you could look to sell this down. This could stop here, here, here. I don't want it to get too close to this top peak. CAD yen, okay. What's happened here? Did this one break the low? Very close. Okay. What's happening here? So I'm just going a 15-minute time frame and seeing what's happening with the current piece. Maybe that will give me more information. This is a possibility. Hmm. Do you go with this? Okay, this could be an option here. So we're getting a separate flat pattern piece because I had this piece and this piece joined together as if they were making one large one. But what happens if there were just two separate pieces that are playing out like very close to one another? So for next week, if you wanted to call this a contracting flat, I wouldn't be entirely against it. However, let's see what 5 minutes is doing. You could possibly sell this. It's risky though, because the reason I say it's risky is because first we're calling it contracting flat, because this in turn might just decide, hey, we're actually done. We're doing it like this. Yeah, I'm against pulling this. So it's too early to say that downside started. This could turn out just to be a flat. It's tricky. It's up to it'd be up to the trader. If the trader wants to take the sell, then okay. Just be careful because you'd have to have an entry here and wait for this to drop through and hope that it just continues to drop through and that you've just caught the start of a 4-hour time frame piece over here. So it's definitely a possibility. Just be aware that this is risky because firstly you're calling a contracting flat and you're looking for an entry on a 5-minute time frame. On a 15 minutes, these are the pieces that I see. If you have any differing ideas as to what could be playing out here, comment down below. I'm happy to consider options. Okay. So this is Swiss yen. See what I mean? Which option is playing out? You have this. What's the 1 hour doing? Okay. This looks like it's consolidating here. Maybe setting up for one more move to the upside. We don't have any divergence between here and here. So it's definitely possible that once we get a MACD crossover, this could continue to grow and move up. I do like this pattern over here. So this is your ABC or your WXY, sorry. And now we're getting these moves up. So this could definitely consolidate and then go to break this low. The reason I'm a bit iffy about it is just when you go to the higher time frames, figuring out what could be playing out here. We could potentially look at this maybe. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the higher time frames, but for right now, if you wanted to go for a long setup, that would potentially be valid. Watch it when it breaks this top and look to take profit. It still could break this top and then just reverse, but then it does become a bit messy in the C wave because we've had a decent sized correction here. So be careful if you're looking to sell or to go long on this. On a short time frame or a smaller time frame, yeah. On an hourly, absolutely, we could see one more up. On a higher time frames, though, it's just a bit iffy as to how high this could go up. Because this is our one. This is potentially complete. It's following impulse, and I want to see this be the correction for more down. That's my higher time frame view. That's why right now I'm a bit skeptical as to what's happening over here. But longs are definitely something you could look for. Once we break this top, take your profit, get out of the market. It'll change. Okay, Dow Jones. Starting to climb back up on a lower time frame. This is probably our A. Next week, we'll probably see our B, or the start of our B. Yeah, absolutely. So if you're looking for sells on a Dow Jones, you could look for hourly sells. Be aware that this will be a B wave. And B waves, as you know, can play out any way they want. They could go down like this. They could drop, sit, drop before going back up. That's what's happening on the Dow. S&P 500. Similar setup. Strong reversal. We got our A wave. We'll go to our B wave. We'll go to our C wave. Next week should be the start of that downside. Do we have any options for this to go up? No. This will consolidate here and go down. Ooh, NASDAQ. Very strong mover. What's my weekly looking like? Okay. Daily. Again, same thing. But with the amount that it's come up, it'll open the door for this option. So because it's retraced so much, if it continues to retrace, it'll drop down to this low and then it will continue going back up. However, if it doesn't climb to that top horizontal and reverses from here, then I'd expect something like this to play out. And then maybe one more drop. And because we've retraced so high, this becomes our flat before we go up. But that is a lot of variables that I've just drawn out. So right now, wait for the NASDAQ. It might climb back up. If you get this drop like this, NASDAQ would be a very good buy around $72. Because then you'd get that move. ASX. Okay. So weekly time frame, I'm looking at a running flat, something like that. On lower time frames, let's check it out. So these are all small pieces. No MACD divergence on an hourly, so upside can still play out. We could potentially be going just into some consolidation here. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe do something like this before more up. That's more than likely what will happen. I'm not going to consider this to be a pullback of this. The reasons for that is just because of where we are on the weekly time frame and the way it reacted off that weekly time frame. If you wanted to draw here, sure, and then we'll get this. So what I'm expecting for the ASX next week. Does this fit? No, so this is bigger now. So this is probably a correction on a 4-hour time frame. So something that's going to give us a 4-hour crossover here and then continue to the upside. XJO. Back out quickly, where are we? Okay, so it looks like we're in the C wave still. Absolutely. That's possible. Crawl back up. Here. That could play out like so. It just looks like we're doing this correction right now. And this correction will just go sideways for a little bit, and then we'll get a move down to break this low. And then once that's actually played out, we could start looking for the reversals. But I think it's too early. Yeah, I think it's too early to start looking for reversals, even after we break this low. So getting a bit off topic. Once we complete this, let's see if this was to continue down over here and get some corrective structures like this. I would prefer this, because this would signal that a lot of momentum or a lot of consolidations happen. That means that when this pattern finishes up, or this impulse to the downside finishes out, it'll most likely finish this whole C wave, and then we could start going up. If it drops from here, what it'll mean is it'll drop and then it'll reverse, and it'll give us something like this before one more down, just because that consolidation here, it's not big enough to continue the level of movement that happened here. The market does have to sit and take a breath before it continues. Same thing with the All Ords. We'll probably be in consolidation for a while. Okay, so oil. Some traders were trading this one. They took a long here. And I was just saying, be careful that it doesn't turn out to be a flat. And it does look like the case. Let's consider, nope. Back to here. More downside. What does it look like on a 15? More downside to come on oil. There's talks about Russia and Saudi and Canada, something about oil. And there's a whole lot of politics going on now. When that finishes, we might get one more low. I'm starting to look for longs. Reversals will come, and they will come very soon. Start looking for reversals on oil. Gold against the Australian dollar still continuing to climb. Consolidation, climb, consolidation, climb. No more divergence. This will continue to go up. XAG, USD. Just going to move this one across. Looks like we're getting this C wave now. Possibly. Unless we're done. And this is the move to go back down. Because on a higher time frame, if we look at this, price action is valid for it to come down to this lower horizontal before it goes up. At the same time, this could be a contracting flat. And price is finished over here. So price is finished over here, and now we're about to consolidate and actually go to the upside. Cool, we drew this out last week. There's the flat. Looks like that's just continued to go up. More up to come on gold US. The DAX. Okay, we got this. So we did get that push to the upside. A couple of the traders that are in my group were looking to trade this to the upside. Nice catch. This is probably just an A. Move to the 1 hour. Yeah, absolutely. Start looking for sells on this and come back down to this low. Then we can get more down. So the B wave will very soon, maybe next week start. Okay. That was it for this week. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned something. Any questions, anything that you want me to have a quick look over with what I've talked about, just pop them in the comments below. Other than that, thanks for watching. See you guys next week.